in 2026.
And this is Tri-City in 2000. Yeah, maybe that's a bad example about how much something can change over a long period of time, so let's look at the decades individually. Specifically, the most transformative one of the 19th century, the 2000s.
The early 2000s were loud, chaotic, emotional, and unforgettable. It was a decade of flip phones and iPods, of MySpace profiles, reality TV, midnight movie premieres, a time where the world watched history unfold in real time. From the tragedy of 9/11 to wars overseas, political division, economy collapse, and the rise of the internet that would change life forever. But it was also the age of boy bands, low-rise jeans, YouTube, Harry Potter mania, viral dances, and some of the most iconic music, sports moments, and pop culture trends ever created. Get ready to travel back to a decade that completely reshaped music, technology, culture, and everyday life in America. As the year 2000 began, Americans celebrated the arrival of a new millennium with massive parties, fireworks, and worldwide excitement. At the same time, there was widespread fear about the Y2K bug, a computer issue that many believed would crash banks, power grids, airplanes, and governments when computers switched from 1999 to 2000. Although the disaster never occurred, the panic showed how dependent society had already become on computers and technology. Politically, America entered the decade deeply divided after one of the closest elections in U.S. history between George W. Bush and Al Gore as they battled over dispute votes in Florida for weeks. The Supreme Court eventually stopped the recount, giving Bush the presidency. Many Americans questioned the fairness, and political polarization began growing rapidly. Everything changed on September 11, 2001. Terrorists from Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 airplanes and carried out coordinated attacks against the United States. 2 planes struck the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, causing the towers to collapse live on television. Another plane hit the Pentagon. The attacks killed nearly 3,000 people and traumatized the nations. Americans watched firefighters, police officers, and ordinary civilians risk their lives to save others. The attacks created an enormous sense of fear, grief, patriotism, and anger. In response, Bush launched the War on Terror. The United States invaded Afghanistan to destroy Al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban from power. Airport security became far stricter. Surveillance increased and fears about terrorism became part of everyday life. At the same time, pop culture continued booming. Teen pop dominated music with artists like Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, while hip-hop exploded through artists like Eminem and Jay-Z. Movies became larger-than-life entertainment events. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and The Lord of the Rings launched 2 of the biggest franchises in movie history. Sports also helped unify Americans emotionally after 9/11. The New England Patriots won the Super Bowl behind young quarterback Tom Brady, beginning one of the greatest dynasties in sports history. Meanwhile, Tiger Woods became one of the most dominant and recognizable athletes on Earth. In 2003, the United States invaded Iraq under claims that Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein possessed weapons of mass destruction. However, those weapons were never found, leading to massive controversy and protests around the world. At the same time, reality television exploded into mainstream culture. Shows like American Idol, Survivor, Fear Factor dominated television ratings. Celebrity gossip magazines, paparazzi culture, and tabloid news became major forms of entertainment. Hip-hop became the dominant genre in pop culture, like 50 Cent, Kanye West, and Beyonce. Rock music remained influential, though, in bands like Linkin Park and Green Day. Movies reflected both escapism and changing technology. Spider-Man helped launch the modern superhero era, while films like Finding Nemo and Shrek 2 show how advanced computer animation had become. In 2003, LeBron James entered the NBA directly from high school and was immediately viewed as basketball's future superstar. Then, in 2004, the Boston Red Sox completed one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. Technology advanced rapidly during these years. Broadband internet began replacing dial-up connections, allowing faster browsing, music downloads, and online gaming. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans and much of the Gulf Coast. The disaster killed thousands and displaced hundreds of thousands of people. Television coverage showed flooded neighborhoods, families stranded on rooftops, and desperate conditions inside shelters like the Superdome. The government's slow response sparked national debates about race, poverty, and leadership. Meanwhile, internet culture exploded after YouTube launched in 2005. Suddenly, ordinary people could upload videos that millions might watch. Viral videos, memes, and online celebrities became completely new forms of entertainment. Twitter launched in 2006, changing how people communicated and consumed breaking news. Music evolved again, as artists like Rihanna, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake, and the Black Eyed Peas dominated radio and early digital downloads. Fashion trends became heavily influenced by celebrity culture and internet aesthetics. Skinny jeans, oversized sunglasses, emo hairstyles, layered clothing, trucker hats, and velour tracksuits became iconic symbols of the mid-2000s. Sports remained highly influential. Sidney Crosby became hockey's next great superstar, while Roger Federer dominated tennis. The decade's biggest technological turning point arrived in 2007, when Apple released the first iPhone. The iPhone combined a phone, camera, music player, internet browser, and touchscreen computer into one device. At the same time, streaming services like Netflix began shifting entertainment away from DVDs and cable television towards internet-based viewing. The final years of the decade were defined by both disaster and transformation. In 2008, the housing market collapsed after years of risky lending practices and financial speculation. Major banks and investment firms failed, stock markets crashed, unemployment skyrocketed, and millions of Americans lost homes and savings during the Great Recession. Amid the uncertainty, Barack Obama ran a historic presidential campaign centered around hope and change. In 2008, he became the first black president in American history, a moment viewed by many as transformational for the country. Pop culture became increasingly digital and internet-driven. Artists like Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Lil Wayne, and Taylor Swift dominated music charts. Movies also pushed technology forward. The Dark Knight transformed superhero films, and while Avatar revolutionized visual effects and 3D filmmaking. Sports delivered legendary moments. Michael Phelps won 8 gold medals at the Beijing Olympics, setting records that amazed the world. Usain Bolt shattered sprinting records and became the fastest man alive. By 2009, America had fully entered the social media age. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, smartphones, Wi-Fi, streaming services, and mobile apps became integrated into daily life. The internet was no longer optional. It had become central to communication, businesses, politics, entertainment, and identity. From the fall of the Twin Towers to the rise of the iPhone, from MySpace pages to Barack Obama's election, from Hurricane Katrina to YouTube virality, the 2000s shaped the modern world we still live in today.